Ooh, hello everyone. Welcome to Hits Differently. It's just Molly here right now. Ryan is literally on a plane flying to the East Coast. Could never have imagined that news like this was going to break on her travels. So we will be doing another live stream or video at some point after she gets here in like 12 hours. But thank you to everyone who jumped on right now for this emergency live stream. Whew, I'm like shaking. Um, all right. I read the letter really quickly. Um, because chaos as soon as we knew that the news of Taylor owning her masters broke, we were like, let's get set up for a live stream. So I'm going to read the letter with you all. And yeah, so I haven't even been able to absorb it yet. Whew, taking deep breaths. Someone in the chat said they're shaking. Literally, me too. I've barely eaten any food today, so that's probably contributing to it. Okay. So again, if you're just joining, the news that Taylor now owns all of her masters just broke today on Friday, May 30th, in the last, I don't know, 30 minutes. Let's read the letter that she posted. Let's read it together, okay? Ooh, I'll try not to cry. So Taylor wrote, "Hi, I'm trying to gather my thoughts into something coherent, but right now my mind is just a slideshow. A flashback sequence of all the times I daydreamed about, wished for, and pined to wait for a chance to get to tell you this news. All the times I was this close. By the way, I haven't counted this yet, but apparently there are 12 eyes here. We'll circle back to that. All the times I was this close, reaching out for it, only for it to fall through. I almost stopped thinking it could ever happen after 20 years of having the carrot dangled and then yanked away. But that's all in the past now. I've been bursting into tears of joy at random intervals ever since I found out that this is really happening. I really get to say these words. All of the music I've ever made, ... now belongs ... to me. And all my music videos and all the concert films, the album art and photography, the unreleased songs, the memories, the magic, the madness, every single era. My entire life's work." Whew. Deep breaths. To say this is my greatest dream come true is actually being pretty reserved about it. To my fans, you know how important this has been to me, so much so that I meticulously re-recorded and released 4 of my albums, calling them Taylor's version. The passionate support you showed those albums and the success story you turned the Eras Tour into is why I was able to buy back my music. I can't thank you enough for helping to reunite me with this art that I've dedicated my life to, but have never owned until now. All I've ever wanted was the opportunity to work hard enough to be able to one day purchase my music outright, with no strings attached, no partnership, with full autonomy. I will be forever grateful to everyone at Shamrock Capital for being the first people to ever offer this to me. The way they've handled every interaction we've had has been honest, fair, and respectful. This was a business deal to them, but I really felt like they saw it for what it was to me. My memories and my sweat and my handwriting and my decades of dreams. I'm endlessly thankful. Oh my gosh. My first tattoo might just... Sorry, she didn't write, oh my gosh. I'm saying that as I'm reading this line. My first tattoo might just be a huge shamrock in the middle of my forehead. Okay, it's a joke. But maybe Ryan and I should get shamrock tattoos. Okay. Taylor goes on to write, I know. What about Rep TV? She's talking directly to us here, you know? Taylor goes on to write, full transparency, I haven't even re-recorded a quarter of it. The Reputation album was so specific to that time in my life, and I kept hitting a stopping point when I tried to remake it. All that defiance, that longing to be understood while feeling purposely misunderstood, that desperate hope, that shame-born snarl and mischief. To be perfectly honest, it's the one album in those first 6 that I thought couldn't be improved upon by redoing it. Not the music or the photos or videos. So I kept putting it off. Wow. Again, this is me talking, interrupting Taylor's writing. She procrastinated Rep TV. She's just like us. Okay. I'm going to add my commentary more at the end of all of this. Let's get through reading it. I apologize. All right. Taylor wrote, so I kept putting it off. There will be a time, parentheses, if you're into the idea, end parentheses, for the unreleased vault tracks from that album to hatch. I've already completely re-recorded my entire debut album, and I really love how it sounds now. Those 2 albums can still have their moments to re-emerge when the time is right, if that would be something you guys would be excited about. But if it happens, it won't be from a place of sadness and longing for what I wish I could have. It will just be a celebration now. I'm extremely heartened by the conversations the saga has reignited within my industry, among artists and fans. Every time a new artist tells me they negotiated to own their master recordings on their record contract because of this fight, I'm reminded of how important it was for all of this to happen. Thank you for being curious about something that used to be thought of as industry-centric for broad discussion. That used to be thought of as too industry-centric for broad discussion. You'll never know how much it means to me that you cared. Every single bit of it counted and ended us up here. Thanks to you and your goodwill, teamwork, and encouragement, the best things that have ever been mine finally actually are. Elated and amazed, Taylor. Whew. How are we all feeling after that? Alex, if the technical setup is good, I feel like we need to put Rep and Debut behind me now. It's time. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna look at the chat's thoughts first, and then let's go dissect this letter together. Bianca said, I am floored. Sarah says, we are such clowns. Swifty's version says, I feel so bad knowing only a quarter of Rep TV was done and we were all clowning about it. And her saying how hard it was to record it. I agree. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from the letter. Rose said Ryan called Debut coming first. Bloom says, I'm so happy for her and we will at least get Debut TV and Rep vault tracks though. Nancy, hi Nancy. Hopefully this is like a normal time for you in the UK. You said, I'm bawling right now and I'm just so happy for her. I don't care about Rep TV. If she doesn't want to do it, I'm full of joy for her. Totally agree. 100% retweet. Stella says, shaking and crying, oh, my dog just hit the camera cord. The camera is slightly askew. Emily says, as a newer Swiftie, I haven't really listened to the original recording, so I'm excited to be able to go back and hear some of them for the first time. Yes, I know there are a lot of people who listen to our show who had never listened to Reputation or Debut because they joined the fandom around Midnights or Tortured Poets, and they didn't want to go and listen to the albums that Taylor didn't own. And now you can. Now you can. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna lie. Reputation, as you guys all know, Ryan and I talked about it all the time. I don't know if I can say right now that it's my favorite album just because I don't let myself listen to it, and I haven't for like 6 years. But lately, when life has been hard, I'm like, I need to put Reputation on, and I always felt guilty about listening to it. And now we don't have to feel guilty. Yes. Also, one of the big things I took away from that, Reputation Stadium tour. Hello? Is it going to be back on a streaming service somewhere? I would love that too. Joanne says, your hubby is a gem. Yes, he is. He saw the news before I did. He sprinted into the room and was like waving his arms at me. And I was like, hang on one second. I'm in the middle of something. It's the middle of the workday here in the US. And he's like, emergency. Thank goodness Ryan had Wi-Fi at this point on her. I don't know if her plane had taken off yet. Actually, I think she's in the air right now. She sent a lot of thoughts. She's obviously a little sad about the fact that like our clowning's immediately over, because we really do love clowning. And I think the fact that Taylor talked about how hard it was for her to record Reputation Taylor's version really like makes us feel guilty as fans for clowning so hard for it. If we're asking something of Taylor that was really hard for her to do, that was never the intention. You know, the clowning is all in good fun, and because we love the album so much and we wanted to be able to listen to it again. And the fact that Taylor wrote that she might still give us the vault tracks, because again, you think back to the interview with for her Time Person of the Year back in the fall of 2023, it came out in November of 2023. Taylor said in that interview that the Reputation vault tracks are fire. So when she said she's only recorded a quarter of it, obviously we already got Delicate Taylor's version and Look What You Made Me Do Taylor's version. So we knew those existed. Maybe the vault tracks were already recorded, and maybe the rest of it was just really hard for her to do. So that's just kind of my thoughts on immediately on the Reputation part of it, because as you all know, again, if you watch our show or listen to our podcast, then you know that Reputation is something we've been looking forward to for a long time. And I think that's going to be everyone's immediate like, whoa, okay, the re-record project is kind of over. But again, Taylor wrote here, if it happens, like if she does give us Taylor Swift Taylor's version, which she said she's already fully recorded, if she does give us that now, it'll be in celebration, not in a place where she feels like she has to reclaim her old work. And the fact that I think a lot of the discussion about Taylor Swift Taylor's version or debut, whatever you want to call it, was about how she was going to really plug into that, tap herself back into that young voice, young sound. Like, how would that be possible now? And I know a lot of people are also really looking forward to her vocals on that, to hear the difference, because if you heard the surprise songs on the Eras tour, like her performance of Cold As You, for example, it's like, oh my gosh, I want her current vocals on Taylor Swift Taylor's version. But you also miss the nostalgia of the original album. So I think it's really cool that we might have both. And now all the discourse about, oh, did you like style Taylor's version better than style on the original album, or the Do and Look What You Made Me Do is different. It's like, listen to whatever one you want to listen to. It doesn't matter anymore. Taylor owns all of it. Let's go. Someone said, what's your podcast called? It is called Hits Differently. The YouTube channel and the podcast are the same name. Just sometimes we do content that's just specific for YouTube that we won't post on our audio platforms. So, in this case, I think we'll try and post this audio to the podcast platforms too. All right. What do you guys want to talk about next? Do you want to go through the letter and just kind of break it down? I feel like that's what I want to do, because there's just so much there to digest. The other thing that I want to look at really quick is Taylor has posted about Shamrock Holdings, I believe is the correct name, Shamrock Holdings before, because when they bought her masters, they originally tried to do a deal with Taylor and sell them back to her. But there she had posted about it, and I want to make sure I get it right. So let me just pull that up. A couple of years ago, she posted about this. Taylor Swift, Shamrock Holdings. I don't know if I'll be able to find it very quickly, and if I can't, I will move on. Okay. Let's see. So in 2020, Shamrock purchased her music. The original sale of her masters from Big Red Machine to Scooter's company, or sorry, not Big Red Machine, Big Machine. The first sale of that happened in 2019, and then in 2020, Shamrock purchased it. And Taylor said at the time, "This is the second time my music has been sold without my knowledge." They bought it from Ithaca, I think it's Ithaca Holdings. That's the company that Scooter is an owner of. And at the time when Taylor wrote about it, she said, "Been getting a lot of questions about the recent sale of my old masters. Hope this clears things up." She posted this on November 16th, 2020. And she said essentially that she's been trying to enter into negotiations with Scooter. Scooter's team wanted her to sign an NDA saying that she would never say another word about Scooter, blah, blah, blah. All of this, and basically saying like this was not normal and she was not going to go through with the deal. And then she said, "A few weeks ago, my team received a letter from a private equity company called Shamrock Holdings letting us know that they had bought 100% of my music, videos, and album art from Scooter. This was the second time my music has been sold without my knowledge. The letter told me they wanted to reach out before the sale to let me know, but that Scooter required they make no contact with me or my team or the deal would be off. As soon as we started communications with Shamrock, I learned that under their terms, Scooter Braun will continue to profit off of my old music catalog for many years. I was hopeful and open to the possibility of a partnership with Shamrock, but Scooter's participation is a non-starter for me. I have recently begun re-recording my older music, and it has already proven to be both exciting and creatively fulfilling. I have plenty of surprises in store." This is before we knew about vault tracks or any of that. "I want to thank you guys for supporting me." So that was all happening in the fall of 2020, and I wonder if we will ever know how the terms of that deal changed to allow her to buy it now. There had been some rumors in the news the last week or two that Shamrock Holdings was trying to make a deal with Taylor. And I'm thinking that it's probably this line of her original letter in 2020 where she said, "I learned that under their terms, Scooter Braun would continue to profit off of my old musical catalog for many years." So maybe that part is done now because it's been 5 years since she put that out. And maybe that is why now she felt like she could enter into this deal. And then she also wrote in the letter that she shared with us today that obviously the success of the Eras Tour and her Taylor's versions, I think, also gave her the financial ability to be able to purchase her masters. So, all right. So that's kind of the background of the Shamrock's Holdings thing and what surprised me at first that this deal even happened. And let's circle back to the letter now that she wrote today. Okay, so in the beginning, she's talking about how her mind is just a slideshow, a flashback sequence of all the time she's daydreamed about this. I can't even imagine how Taylor felt the last 6 years, knowing that the first 20 years of her career, she no longer had ownership or autonomy over it. I mean, that's the whole reason the Taylor's Version project started. She's like, "I just want to own my work. I want to be able to sing my songs. I want to be able to play my songs in the shows or movies or broadcast whatever that I want to license them to. And I want to have that decision making, because she, like, unlike some other artists, Taylor writes everything. Her early albums, I mean, and her current albums still, but her whole songwriting style for the most part is about personal experiences. So of course she wanted to own this work. And it was not the industry standard at the time that she was coming into the music industry for artists to be able to do that. And she, like she's done with many things before. You might, if you've been around for a while and been a Swiftie for a while, you'll know that Taylor held her music off of streaming platforms when that first became a thing, because she felt like artists were not getting the right compensation for their music going to streaming versus in the past fans buying physical copies of the album, whether it was CDs or vinyls. So Taylor has stood for these big things in the industry that have caused major change, positive change for the artists. And this is just another example of that. So she's been daydreaming about this, wishing for it, pining for it. Who knows how long this deal has been in the works. Then she says, all the times I was this close, only for it to fall through. The this is where there's multiple I's. Let's count them together real quick, okay? I mean, even on a day like today, you still have to count slightly. 1, 3. Has anyone counted them? Tell me in the chat. Has anyone counted the I's? I saw on social before I started this that people were saying there were 12 I's. That's the reason I'm calling this out.
There are 12 I's.
There are 12. Okay, we all know what that means. Why would she put 12 I's in this very important letter about her re-records if it was not intentional? Okay, it's just like her putting 12 D's, oh my god, on her Instagram story a couple months ago, promoting Selena's album. That, I'm just saying, I think that's intentional. Today's not about clowning, but we have to call it out, okay? The chat, there's 12, 12, 12. Yes. I mean, all right, I'm not even gonna think about TS12 right now. My brain's going crazy. Okay.
Don't do it. I on the prize, Molly. I on the prize.
Focus. All right, so Taylor goes on to say, I almost stopped thinking it could ever happen after 20 years of having the carrot dangled and then yanked away. How frustrating that must have been to be told, oh, we want to sell your work to you. Oh, yeah, like here, this is the deal. And then the deal was like littered with all this stuff that she didn't want to agree to. And how sure of herself she had to be to walk away from those deals in the past and say, no, I'm going to do it my own way. I'm going to carve my own path. If you don't want to work with me and negotiate with me to get my masters back, then I am going to devalue my masters. That's what she did. She devalued all of the original work by doing the Taylor's versions. And, you know, the people who bought them all had to sit there and find out not to mess with freaking Taylor Swift and her work. Okay? Then Taylor goes on to write, I've been bursting into tears of joy at random intervals ever since I found out that this is really happening. And I really get to say these words. I'm trying not to cry when I read this the second time. All of the music I've ever made now belongs to me. You belong with me. Literally, there are so many lyrics that pop into my brain while I'm reading this letter. And again, she goes on to say all my music videos, all the concert films, the album art and photography and unreleased songs, the memories, the magic, the madness, every single era, my entire life's work. Okay? If you're a fan who has been with her through all of these different eras, if you're a new fan, that's fine too. But I'm just saying, if you are a fan who has been here from the beginning and went to those concerts or watched those films, watched those music videos, now we can do that again, guilt-free. Taylor wants us to be able to relive the nostalgia of those original songs, the original films, the original music videos. Like, for example, when people ask me my favorite Taylor Swift music video, it's probably a tie between either Look What You Made Me Do or Bad Blood. And if I went to watch those at any point in the last 6 years since her masters were sold, I felt terrible about it. And how could she ever recreate some of these iconic things? Like the Bad Blood music video is a time capsule. It can't be recreated. And just even going all the way back to like the Love Story music video, things like that. Obviously, Taylor's already released Fearless Taylor's version. That was the first one. And she put out new lyric videos and things like that. But she could not have possibly gone and redone all of the music videos. No way she could have redone any concert films. And so now we as fans get to enjoy that again forever, because she owns it. The album art, that's another really interesting thing, specifically with the albums that are sitting behind me now. For those on audio who are listening later, I have Reputation original and Debut original behind me now. Like, how was she gonna redo this cover for Reputation? And how could she possibly redo Baby Taylor Swift? I'm so glad that she owns these now. They're iconic. They'll never be replaced. And that's not a diss to any of the Taylor's version new covers. Okay, I like all of them. It's just there is something about the original. Okay, let's keep breaking down the letter. Some people in the chat are saying, should we only stream the OG ones to get them to #1 and celebrate her? Absolutely. You know what I'm going to be doing the rest of the day after this? I am going to be streaming Reputation Taylor's version. Or not Taylor's version. Reputation Taylor owned.
What do you know, Molly? You have an early copy? Leaked.
I'm just so used to saying it that way. No, I want to be... Oh, and everyone who was freaking out about if the new Reputation would have an uppercase R or a lowercase r, doesn't matter. It's staying the original. All right, let's circle back to the letter. Let's keep going. To say this is my greatest dream come true is actually being pretty reserved about it. That's how big of a deal this is to her. It's more than her greatest dream come true. To my fans, you know how important this has been to me, so much so that I have meticulously re-recorded and released 4 of my albums, calling them Taylor's version. The passionate support you show those albums and the success story you turn the Eras Tour into is why I was able to buy back my music. I can't thank you enough for helping to reunite me with this art that I've dedicated my life to but have never owned until now. I feel like I talked about the kind of this part a little bit already, but I don't know how much all of this cost or the financials involved with her buying this back. Obviously, the Taylor's versions have been highly successful and the Eras Tour was highly successful, and that has allowed her to be able to purchase her masters. And I can already picture some of the criticism from maybe people who see this and think it's like capitalism or something, like, oh, so why did Taylor re-record her for those 4 albums and make us all buy it and blah, 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 if she was just going to buy them back anyway? Well, first of all, she had no way of knowing that she was going to be able to buy them back at some point. As she wrote earlier in the letter, this deal fell through multiple times and it was a carrot being dangled in front of her that she never thought that this would happen. So she had to go on to re-record her album so she could take ownership back. I don't think Taylor did all of that just to get the money to buy her masters back. I don't think that was the point. I think she did that because she thought that's what she was going to have to do to be able to own her music again, and that ended up leading to her actually being able to own her masters. And personally, every album variant or whatever that I purchased of any of those Taylor's versions, if that meant Taylor could own her work, or my Eras Tour tickets meant that Taylor could own her work, personally, I'm okay with that. That's exactly what I would want that to mean. Yeah, I can't believe she owns them, guys. Can't believe it. Okay. So she's thanking the fans for allowing her this opportunity. And she goes on to write that all she ever wanted was the opportunity to work hard enough to be able to one day purchase her music outright with no strings attached, no partnership, with full autonomy. I will be forever grateful to everyone at Shamrock Capital for being the first people to ever offer this to me. So again, if you were watching from the a couple minutes ago when I was reading her old post in 2020 about Shamrock Capital trying to sell her masters back to her, that was not the case at the time in 2020 when they bought her masters from Ithaca and tried to do this deal. Scooter was still involved and would have still profited, and she was not going to do that. So I have to assume that that all has changed by this point, because she is saying that there is no strings attached and she has full autonomy. That is crazy. I don't know how many artists out there even can say that they own their masters with no strings attached and with full autonomy. I don't know if that's even a thing that other people in the music industry have been able to accomplish. I don't know. I'm thinking of like Michael Jackson or something like that. I feel like there have been examples in the past of families having like trying to buy back masters of people who are no longer with us. But I feel like this is just, I just want to focus on the fact that this is actually crazy and amazing that Taylor was able to pull this off, because it is not how the music industry normally works for the artist to have full ownership. Someone said the Beatles don't even own their music. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to get to. I don't know enough about other people's record deals. I'm too focused on Taylor, but I'm pretty sure that like this is an anomaly. Prince, yeah, I remember, was it Prince's family that was trying to buy back his masters? Some artists sell their catalogs. Someone wrote in the chat that Prince said, "Own the masters or the masters will own you." For real, for real. Clearly. All right. Whew. Let's go back to breaking down this letter. Do we think Taylor will really get a shamrock tattooed on her forehead? I'm just kidding. But how many Swifties might get shamrock tattoos now? I mean, like maybe TS12 will have a shamrock theme now. Maybe that's where we're getting some of the green from, with like the Fearless cardigan promo that happened this spring that we thought was debut coded. Like, I don't know. Maybe in honor of Shamrock, TS12 will have a little bit of shamrock and green in there, you know? And I'm pretty sure, chat, tell me if I'm wrong or if you remember this. I'm pretty sure Taylor has specifically been asked about tattoos before in an interview a long time ago, and she was like, I literally could never could never like even decide like what to do with a tattoo. And the other thing I want to call out about this tattoo line is that this is why I love Taylor. It's like, this is a very important and like semi-serious, pretty serious in the history of her career. This letter, like this letter is gonna go down in freaking history. And she's still making jokes. My first tattoo might just be a huge shamrock in the middle of my forehead. Like, this is why I love Taylor. She always brings her personality into everything that she does. When is St. Patrick's Day? Mike asked. It is March 17th. Ironically, that was the day of the iHeart Music Awards, and we were clowning about March 17th then. Chat asked, what's Ryan thinking? Ryan is having, she is like literally so overwhelmed. When I haven't looked at our texts since I started this live like 30-ish minutes ago, but she was shook, and she is sitting on a plane right now. She's flying from the West Coast to the East Coast. She will be arriving at our house sometime after midnight tonight. Had all these plans for episodes we were going to record this weekend, and obviously those plans will be changing now. If you guys want, we'll try and plan for a live stream tomorrow. What?
I have to shout chat out. Happy Swift Independence Day.
Swifty Independence Day. Yes. I think that Ryan and I said this a little bit ago, but just to repeat for anyone who's joined since then, I think what Ryan and I took away from our initial reading of the letter was like just feeling almost a little bad of like the clowning is just fun for us. It's literally something Ryan and I obviously a ton of other Swifties love to do because it's a way to disassociate from the other stuff that's going on in the world or in your life and just hyper fixate on something that's fun, and it's like a hobby almost, right? And so the fact that the clowning, first of all, is like immediately over for Reputation Taylor's version or Taylor Swift Taylor's version, it's like, oh, it's kind of like how people will, this might be a weird example, but it's kind of how people will say, like, you look forward to your wedding day so much and you plan your wedding day and you put all this effort into it and all this thought into it, and it like, is just something that you think about a lot. If anyone here in the chat has ever planned a wedding, and then after the day's over, you're like, wait, like, what do I do with my time? Like, I have spent so much time thinking about this. Or like, insert that example with anything else in your life that you're working towards, thinking of something that occupies a lot of your brain space, and then the second that it's over, you're like, wait, what do I do now? So I think that's how Ryan and I felt, like the happiness of Taylor owning her work is the most important thing, absolutely. And the flip side of it is like, oh my gosh, this thing that we've spent a lot of time doing is kind of no longer relevant now. And, we have to work on that with ourselves. It's not Taylor's problem. So the fact that, which is the next part of the letter that I was going to get into, is about Rep TV. So let's like revisit this paragraph again, and then we can talk about it a little bit more. Taylor says, because she's so in touch with her audience, she knows that we're gonna read this and be like, what about Rep TV? She said, I know. What about Rep TV? Full transparency, I haven't even re-recorded a quarter of it. Honestly, LOL. Like, the fact that a month after 1989 Taylor's version was released, Swifties were chanting Reputation at the Eras Tour, she's probably like, what? Guys, it's not ready yet. It also kind of lines up with some other things we've heard. Like Ed Sheeran, I think, said, I forget if it was last fall, so like fall of 2024, if it was fall of 2023, that he was asked about Reputation Taylor's version in an interview, and he said that they hadn't re-recorded Endgame yet. And I thought that maybe he was lying to throw us off, or he's under NDA / one of Taylor's close friends and collaborators, so he wouldn't have revealed even if he had. But now I'm wondering that maybe that was true. Maybe they just hadn't re-recorded it. Let me get back to the letter real quick. Sorry, Alex took control of my mouse. So that's just a little side note. One of the things like that she hadn't even re-recorded a quarter of it is really interesting. And again, I said this at the beginning of the live stream, but just to repeat, clearly part of the quarter that she recorded was Delicate Taylor's version, which aired in the summer I Turned Pretty, and Look What You Made Me Do Taylor's version, which we'd heard 3 different times. So I do kind of wonder, with this announcement, if Delicate Taylor's version or Look What You Made Me Do Taylor's version may be available on streaming at some point. Like, would she even do that? Just drop them as singles because they're clearly re-recorded? Or does she have a bigger plan for any of that? Like, obviously it doesn't seem like she wants to go back and re-record the rest of Reputation, but for the stuff that she had already recorded, might that be something we get as a single someday, similar to how she dropped Wildest Dreams Taylor's version or This Love Taylor's version before we got those albums? So she goes on to write, the Reputation album was so specific to that time in my life, and I kept hitting a stopping point when I tried to remake it. All that defiance, that longing to be understood while feeling purposely misunderstood, that desperate hope, that shame-born snarl and mischief. To be perfectly honest, it's the one album of those first 6 that I thought couldn't be improved upon by redoing it. Not the music or the photos or videos, so I kept putting it off. That's really interesting to me because a lot of people talked about that. How Reputation, the production of those songs, is so unique and would be so hard to recreate. And clearly she agreed. And if you go and listen to them now, just think about, like, I'm a lyric person, so whenever I listen to her music, I'm mostly focused on the lyrics. But if you go back and just listen to the amount of production and the layers that are in all of those songs on Reputation, it would have been so hard and time consuming to re-record all of that. And the fact that she had all the other re-records to do, she's put out 2 new albums since she decided she was going to do the re-record project, and she went on a 2-year tour. Not surprising that she kept putting this off, and I don't blame her, because Ryan and I haven't really revisited what led up to the Rep era yet, because we were waiting for whenever Reputation Taylor's version was going to be announced. And then we were gonna like deep dive on everything that led up to her releasing that album. And I think that we should still do that now so that anyone who wasn't around for that time can relive it, or anyone who was around can just, even if you lived through the like canceling of Taylor Swift in 2016, it just, I think, sheds so much light to all this that was going on around that time, and then ultimately ended up leading to her like leaving her label, not wanting to do the deal with Scooter. I feel like all of it's really kind of wrapped up in each other and this hard time period that she went through. So I am not surprised at all that revisiting that time period and trying to tap into those emotions is hard for her. It's like when she was going back and re-recording her albums, she had to relive whatever experiences she was going through at the time. And, I feel like with heartbreak and things like that, that once you're past it, it's a little easier to revisit. It also, I think, is what brought songs like Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda, or The Manuscript out in her newer albums. But when this isn't heartbreak in that kind of a way. This isn't a breakup. This was the entire world turning their back on her disappearing from the public eye, and like forever changing the landscape of her life. Like that is what happened to her before the Reputation album came out, and it was traumatic for her, and maybe she doesn't want to revisit it or relive it, and none of us can blame her for that, because while we see the album as like this awesome, like I'm trying not to swear because Alex can't bleep me, this awesome like album that just encompasses all these different emotions, and like we take pride in it, like of how just like grunge and fun, and like the tour, the Reputation Stadium tour, and those songs live, and like we find such big power in it. That might have been the end result of the album, but that might not have been how Taylor felt leading up to like writing the album, If you haven't seen Miss Americana on Netflix, you should go and watch that, because it does shed a lot of light into a lot of the things that led up to Reputation, and I think will make you understand a little bit more why she might not have wanted to revisit that time. Someone said Taylor Nation up in here. Congratulations to Taylor. I'm like, there's no way that Taylor Nation is in here. Okay, there's an account called Taylor Nation. I'm like, don't scare me like that, guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, Stargirl, you can listen to Reputation now. You're literally, when I started the live stream, I was like, I hope that you pop in here, because I know that you had been waiting to listen to Reputation. Go listen after the live is done. Stay on for a little longer. I have to hop off of this in like the next 5-10 minutes, but if you guys want, we can circle back again later today. And then Ryan will be here tomorrow. So, all right. How should we wrap this up if I have like 8 minutes left? What other questions do you guys have? I can keep going through the letter and we can kind of wrap that up. But yeah, I just think it's really interesting that Taylor said out of the first 6, she thought this was one that couldn't be improved upon by redoing it. And that she goes on to say the unreleased vault tracks from that album, that there will be a time for that if we're into the idea. Of course we're into the idea. Of course we are into the idea. We want the vault tracks. You said they were fire. We want them. And then she said that where is it? She said that she had already I've already completely re-recorded my entire debut album and I really love how it sounds. Yeah, again, there's the dichotomy of like the original version and the nostalgia of how her voice sounded then and her little country twang, and like those songs have a youthful edge to them, but I would still love to hear her current vocals on a lot of those songs like we got to during the Eras tour when she sang them as surprise songs. And hearing just like more mature Taylor sing young Taylor songs, you know. But she said if she releases it, it won't be from a place of sadness and longing for what she wishes she could have. It will just be a celebration. And you know what? If we ever get things from what would have been included in the re-records for Debut and Reputation, it will be the biggest party. Like, we will be so happy to hear whatever she wants to share with us from the project that now doesn't need to be completed. And then the end of the letter, Taylor goes on to say like that she's just really glad that this whole saga, that something positive could come out of it, because as hard as it's been for her to have to deal with not owning her work, and as hard as this whole process has been for her, there are not now new artists that are telling her how important it was for them to know about this, because they have been able to negotiate deals that allow them to own their masters. And so she is changing the music industry. She is. Alex is starting to laugh at me over here. Don't laugh at me. She said, "You'll never know how much it means to me that you cared. Every single bit of it counted and ended us up here. Thanks to you and your goodwill, teamwork, and encouragement, the best things that have ever been mine finally actually are. Elated and amazed, Taylor." You know, one thing that I do wish that we could have from if we were to have gotten the re-records would have just been like the new like album prologue for Reputation and for Taylor Swift, because that's been another really cool part of the re-records, is seeing like how she wrote about the album at the time it came out and how she was writing about them in the prologues for the re-records. So, you know, there will be certain things that we may never get or may never know about those two unreleased Taylor's version albums, but the overall point of all of this is that Taylor owns her freaking work. That was the whole reason she was doing the re-record project, and now she owns her masters. We can listen to any of her first 6 albums and know that we are supporting her, and they are no longer the stolen versions. The stolen versions have been returned home. They're back home. They're back home. All right, for the last couple of minutes, let's see what's up with the chat. I've just been monologuing. I really want to listen to Debut in her more adult voice. Agree. And it sounds like she might make that happen at some point. They're back home. Stargirl said, "I've always wanted a shamrock tattooed behind my ear. Now I doubly want it." Heck yeah. I can't wait to see all these shamrock tattoos. It's going to be amazing. Oh my gosh, Luke! Luke, hi! GOT Games. Oh my gosh, Luke, what do you think? Tell us your thoughts. If anyone doesn't know Luke, first of all, go follow, subscribe to GOT Games on YouTube. Luke started his Swiftie journey, I think just like what, a year and a couple months ago now, a year and a half maybe. And he started with Don't Blame Me on the Reputation Stadium tour and then has been down this whole Swiftie journey since then. And what a great day for you to be a part of, Luke. Oh my gosh. Like, you're gonna have to go and do reaction videos now to her older stuff, to her original songs, because you probably haven't heard a lot of them. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can't, like, everyone say if Luke hasn't listened to one of a song from the first 6 albums, the original version, if Luke hasn't listened to them yet, what should be the first song that he does a reaction video for? People are saying, "Hi, Luke. I watch Luke every day." Yeah, Luke's amazing. Waiting for Luke's Friday video. Yes, he usually posts his Taylor videos Fridays, and I think it's either Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. It's not both Monday and Tuesday. It's one or the other. I just can't remember right now. I'm so overwhelmed. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this soon. Oh, you guys have been doing so well on this channel and with Patreon. So proud. Thanks, Luke. Luke is one of our very first guests, and he has such a huge audience. We were honored that he talked to us. All right. I'm gonna have to sign off for now. If you guys want another live stream maybe later today, or you want to wait till Ryan's here, drop it in the comments of this video and we will evaluate again in a couple of hours. Either way, we're definitely going to be doing a video or a live stream when Ryan's here tomorrow. I'm mostly just asking, like, should we do another one today? Like, there's just so much to talk about. So thank you all for joining us on this emergency live stream. Taylor Swift owns her masters. Holy crap. I've gone from like being emotional in the beginning and like crying reading the letter to just like pure happiness now. I'm just so excited for her. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching and for listening later on audio. We love all of you. Today's a great day to be a Swiftie. Go listen to Taylor Swift and Reputation. Original. We can listen to them now. Bye.